What's going on? It's TJ from The Ongoing Concept, and you are listening to Breakdowns for Breakfast.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Breakdowns for Breakfast. I am your host, Danger, and joining me is a fellow that cannot properly break down an album without your co-host, Monster. Say hi, Monster.
Good evening. Ho, 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 ho.
Yes, and so the reason why Monster is doing, if we want to call that an impression of Dracula, is we are here to talk about the horror punk outfit Left Hand Black's debut self-titled album that was released March 27th, 2020. This album was a request from, we do not know this guy's first name, this fellow. We assume it's a guy. So we just know that he is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the last four of his phone number are 6868. Now, you see, on every episode that we release, there's a place to send us a text, send us a message. I actually don't know what it says, but we probably should at this point. So yeah,
send a text.
Okay, send a text. Well, we're going to call him Phil from Philly.
We'll call him Phil. That's good.
Decided to send us a text. Much appreciated, by the way. I had never heard of Left Hand Black. Had you ever heard of Left Hand Black, Monster?
No, but sorta.
But sorta. Please explain. Yeah, but sorta, but no.
Okay. So, first of all, thanks, Phil. Appreciate the request. Also,
we hope your name's actually Phil, because it'd be really bad if it wasn't. We're going to call you Phil this whole episode. So
Phil from Philadelphia. That's incredible. I think just, for anybody listening that wants to make a request, we love it. Please, please, please make requests. Send us feedback. Include your name. Include how we can get in touch with you, because that would be helpful.
Honestly, the best way you could do it is to send us an email, because that would be you have a little more space to leave your name and whatnot there. But anyway, go on, Monster, go on.
Yeah. And that email, of course, is breakdownsbreakfast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So after I discovered Grave Robber, I kind of went down a little bit of a horror punk rabbit hole and became a pretty big fan of the genre in general.
It's a fun place to be.
Yeah, so, I listened to, obviously, the big ones, Misfits and Danzig. But then, I even got this little playlist on Spotify where I've put a lot of stuff by some of the, I don't want to say lesser known, but, 5 to 25,000 monthly listeners, bands like the Rosedells and Argyle Goolsby and Calabrese. I think it's Calabrese, maybe how you say it. I don't know. But there was a band that I had heard a couple songs by called The Dead Next Door.
Yes.
And I like some of those, and I have one or two of their songs on a playlist. And I showed this band to a friend of mine she's well versed in horror punk, far more than I am. And she was like, as soon as she heard Left Hand Black, she goes, "That's the singer from The Dead Next Door." And I was like, "Oh, is it?" And she's like, "Yeah, you even have one of their songs on their playlist. How do you not know that?" And I was like, so once I discovered that, I was like, okay, yeah, I hear it now for sure. And then also the name of the song, the name of the band comes from a Danzig song.
Yes.
By the same name.
Off of the album Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill, that was released in 92.
Which I did listen to the song Left Hand Black, and I didn't love it. I don't.
Yeah. No, I listened to it too, and it's not one I wanted to listen to again.
Yeah, and so anyway, I say all that to say, this is the first time I ever really listened to this band, and I'll just go ahead and say that this is the type of band and this is the type of album that does not work well for the format of our show. Only because this is the kind of album, this is not the kind of album that you need to listen to 12 times to really absorb it and understand it.
No, but I did listen to it about 12 times, so.
Same. This is a quick, raucous, 28-minute long horror punk album. It is no frills. It is just straight to the point. And after about 2 or 3 listens, you're good. I don't think you really need to really pound this one into your brain. But we did. for purposes of our own doing.
We did it for Phil.
We did it for Phil. If it turns out to be a lady, that'll be even funnier. But no, I'm glad this was brought to us. I'm glad I listened to it. There's definitely a couple songs that I really like, and I'll talk about those. What did you think? How did you feel about it?
Kind of the same way. It was a really quick, fun, easy listen. I mean, the longest track on here is 3 minutes 44 seconds. And I mean that, and I'll talk about the length of that when we get to it. But most of the songs are, no more than 2 minutes. 2:17, if you will. I mean, like minute 44, and that's one of the issues that I was kind of having going into this, because I really enjoyed it, and so I didn't mind listening to it again. It's like, we've talked plenty of times about the fatigue that sets in with albums. Well, you don't have time for fatigue to set in here. And maybe if you play it on a loop. It's one of those things where it happens so quick that by the time it starts over, it's like, wait a second. Wait, yeah, I've heard the song already. I heard it just, 20 minutes ago. So it is hard for our show, because I did want to sit down and do our due diligence that we do and take proper notes. But it's like, the solos are like 5-second solos.
Right.
The fills are half a fill of a normal, I'd say normal band, but the average band that we'd listen to on this show. It was quite interesting. So I actually ended up kind of diving into some of the the background stuff, and I gotta say, for a horror punk band to write mostly songs about horror movies, they found their they slid right into it, and they found their niche, and cool. I liked it. I'm not going to say I loved it.
Yeah.
There are a few things that I will point out that I feel like could have been better, but we may not have time for it because the first song's only 1:39 seconds.
The only other horror punk band we did for the show was Grave Robber.
Right.
And I mentioned, and I think we both mentioned on that one, there are moments on that album where it gets a little bit, little twinge of Metallica. There's a couple parts where he kind of got like this surf guitar.
Yeah, it had a lot of Southern rock influence on it.
Yeah, there's also moments where they do these kind of like slower moments where almost get into a little bit of like groove metal for just little sections here or there. So for me, I've said on the show a million times, I'm a fan of like hybrid music where bands are mixing up styles and genres. So something like Grave Robber works better for me, because even at 1.5, 2 minutes long, some of these songs do start to get a little repetitive to me. And one time through, you're just laughing at some of the lyrics and having a good time. You don't even notice it. And I think that's how you're supposed to listen to this album. You're supposed to drop it on, listen to it for half an hour, move on to the next thing, come back to it another time. But doing it the way we do it for the show, I was getting kind of like, okay, and because I do like the singer's voice, but it is very kind of one note. He kind of sounds the same.
There are a few places he steps outside of that, and he goes a little bit. It's not very far. It's and it's not for very long.
There's very little dynamics, and again, it's a horror punk record. You kind of know what to expect going into it. But again, you think of some of those other bands I just listed, they do have a little more dynamics, and they do have a little more up and downs and slow and fast. And so that kind of starts to lessen my interest after a couple listens. And then also, there are songs on here where I think the lyrics are great and they're very clever, and I enjoy them. And then there's other times where it's like, oh, we're just not going to write a second verse. Okay, we'll just repeat the same verse 2-3 times and have a hook, and hey, it's 1.5 minutes. Nobody will notice. It's like, well, no, they won't until you listen to it 4 times in a row for a stupid podcast you and your jackass friend started.
Well, I mean, yeah. Sorry, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. But, okay, so one of the biggest things that I actually had a complaint about with the Grave Robber episode or album that we did is that, I really like the horror punk, sound. I genuinely do enjoy it. But the Grave Robber songs were just a little bit too long for me. I mean, it was just to maintain that energy for a long time. It's like we talked about on Offspring. It's like if you're going to go over 4 minutes, you better have a damn good reason, because you've created energy that's not going to last for 4, 5, 6 minutes. But here, I like the length of these songs because I feel like they get in, they punch, they get out.
I do too.
And I'm good with the energy. And that's part of where I was saying I didn't feel the fatigue in this, because I didn't feel like any one song was enough to kind of, fatigue the ears and drag me down. Now, I will agree with what you said. If you listen to it over and over again, it does become very repetitive and all. And it's like you kind of hear this, punk rock crooning for a long time. And it's like, okay, we're kind of done with this now. Right. And I mean, I was able to, fit this one in probably, 3 times in one listen before I just needed to go on to something else. But, 3 times of this album is the average length of a normal album. So
just about, yeah.
Yeah. And I never found myself dreading coming back to it. There's been plenty of albums that we've done on the show where I didn't want to put it back on because I knew what was going to happen. But I kind of felt like here, I could throw it on any track and it's going to feel the same no matter what.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same, because for me, I did start to get to a point where I was like, all right, I'm kind of over this, because like I said, these songs are really short. And so it is not hard to sit down and listen to this album from start to finish. Matter of fact, for most people, I feel like the length of this album is a commute to or from work, basically. Yeah.
I can, even though my commute's short, I can fit in most of this album on the way.
Right. So, that's cool. And again, for just a casual listen, man, this thing cooks. This thing rocks. Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun. But, and also as a horror movie fan, I felt like sometimes the lyrics were a little bit on the nose side. Yeah. Like, again, going back to Grave Robber, that album, every single song title was a horror movie. But the lyrics on each song were almost like a play on that. Like the lyrics had to do with the title, but sometimes it had nothing to do with the movie they were referencing. It just, they incorporated those phrases into the lyrics. And I like that better. Now, that's not to say every single one of these songs is just straight up the plot of a movie. A couple of them are, but because there's one song in particular, it's one of my favorites. The lyrics are very funny, and every time I heard it, it made me laugh. So I think these guys are good. I really do like them, and I did listen to some of their next album, and it is also good.
Love and Satan that came out in 22.
Yes.
Right.
So I like these guys a lot, and I will continue to listen to them. And then when they put out new stuff, I will continue to check it out. Out of the small list of horror punk bands that I am familiar with, that I have given a chance to, these guys are kind of just like slap dab in the middle. They're just another one. Like there's nothing about it that made me go, wow, these guys are top of their game, but nothing made me go, ooh, I don't like that. That's bad. So
now you did mention that that 2 of the guys, you just mentioned one, but there's 2 of the guys in this band, and I'll go over the members of the band here in just a bit.
Yeah, dude, please do.
But they were in another band, The Dead Next Door. Then this one came about, and I feel like this was kind of a first album for them. Like The Dead Next Door had enough of a following for them to pump out something else. And I feel like this was probably just as quick to record as it was to listen to, pretty much.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to mention that too. Part of the reason that this is a fun listen is it sounds like they are in the studio recording this live. Now, there's definitely some punch-ins and there's some, little touch-ups and stuff. But there's 1 or 2 spots that I distinctly hear that I can tell as a musician, as a guitar player, that's not right. That's okay. Because this is a 1.5-minute song and you guys are trying to get the energy, but that's not very tight. And if you were trying to make a polished studio record, you would go back and fix it. But because this is horror punk and this is supposed to be rough around the edges, it fits and it sounds cool the way it is.
Right. And that second album this is only 13 tracks. That second album is 15 tracks. And most of the songs are like 2.5, almost 3 minutes, whereas most of the songs here are not even 2 minutes. I mean, the first 4 tracks on this album don't even crack 2 minutes. So, I feel like this was a first album thing for this new project that they had.
Yeah, and I think that's also why the lyrics are sometimes what they are. It's just one verse repeated twice with a hook, and the lyrics are oftentimes just a couple of highlights from a film they're referencing, which again fits the genre, fits what they're going for. So I'm not mad at it. No. It's just when you stack it up against some of those other bands that I mentioned, it's just not quite as, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay. So let's go over the band themselves.
Which, by the way, they're from Sweden.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're going to say their names and not me.
Yes, they're from Gothenburg, Sweden. Now,
of course, it's Gothenburg. Yes. That's amazing.
Now, I do not have what each person does in the band because I could not find that. I couldn't even find a list of the members, so I had to hunt for it. I had to hunt for it. So, okay, so we do know that the Dead Next Door had Jonathan Jasson, who was also in this, and Hans Hagstrom, who is also in this. And then we have...
I think Hans is the singer. I think.
And then Anton Zachrisson and Johan Hansen. So I tried to Swedish it up a little bit.
I think you did fine. Thanks. You should have did it like Sherba. Sorry, that's too Swedish.
Well, that's just offensive. So you went Swedish chef. Yeah. I love the Swedish Chef. So, yeah.
Okay, so for those counting at home, that's 2 Muppet characters that I have done the voice of so far.
Who was the first one?
Well, the Count, which I know is Sesame Street. We're not going to split hairs here, okay?
I was just wondering who the first one was.
Muppets are Sesame Street and The Muppet Show, okay? They're both Jim Henson.
We are 15 plus minutes recording. That was a lifetime ago that you did that. So, anyway.
And it won't be the last one, so...
I hope not. I hope not. And I hope it's Miss Piggy. So, okay. One other thing I will say for this is, with these songs only being 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes at best, I mean, we do have a 3:44 track later on the album, but, they don't have time to waste getting into the songs, and most of these songs just jump right in. Cool. If that's the horror punk that Sweden brings to the table... Cool, because you don't ever think about horror punk coming from Sweden.
Well, it's kind of funny because whenever like I said, I've got this little horror punk playlist on Spotify that I listen to from time to time. I don't know where some of these bands are from. I am imagining different countries. I don't know. Like a lot of them do have a little bit of an accent to the vocals and stuff. So, but again, that's part of the, I guess the tropes of the genre is that affect on the vocal to get a little bit of that doo-wop Elvis Presley thing going on. So that also kind of hides some accent to be able to like determine where they're from.
All right. Well, just like the band does, they just jump right into it. Are you ready to jump into it?
Let's jump right into it.
Okay. So before we jump into it, I do want to say...
Why the hell did you ask if I wanted to jump into it?
Because I did. I don't know. Anyway,
yes.
For each of these songs, I do have what movies they come from and whatnot, and so that will be something we do talk about within this. So, all right. So, track 1, Dead Heat. So, Dead Heat is a 1988. I've never seen Dead Heat, but after this description, I want to see it. Have you seen Dead Heat?
No, okay, so that's something I wanted to do as we go through. Each movie title, song title, we'll see if the other one has seen it or not. Oh. I have not seen this, and when I read the description, I thought, how have I not seen this one?
I thought the same thing. Okay, so an 88 buddy cop action zombie comedy. That is all of the things that I want. But it was directed by Mark Goldblatt, and it had Treat Williams, Joe Piscopo, Darren McGavin, Lindsay Frost, and Vincent Price. Now, the film is about an LAPD police officer who is murdered while attempting to arrest zombies who have been reanimated by the head of Dante Laboratories, I guess that's pertinent to the movie, in order to carry out violent and armed robberies, and decides to get revenge with the help of his former partner. I want to see that because I want to know if his former partner is now a zombie and he's teaming up with the zombie for the takedown Dante Laboratories. I don't know. That description made me go, I have to find this movie.
Yeah, and it's funny, we've mentioned on this show before, especially a whole lot on the show we do not speak of. Both of us are big fans of horror films. I think I'm a little bit more into horror, and you're a little bit more into just sort of like, what's the word? Kind of off the wall, kind of weirder.
Yeah, I really like the weird off the wall slasher, kind of stuff. Like yeah, I watched The Monkey recently, and I would not say it's a great movie, but I would watch it again.
Yeah, and I just watched Talk to Me, which I had heard a lot of good things about, and was it was okay. It was a neat idea, but I just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either one of us reading that description of this movie, it's like right up our alley. Like this
Absolutely.
Sounds like it reminds me of some of those really goofy, bad, like zombie comedies, like Dead and Breakfast, and
Zombie.
some of those, like yes. And so it definitely sounds good. Now, as far as the song goes,
yes, right.
This is a really good opener. It's really fast. It jumps right into it.
I did like the chorus to it. It had a catchy little chorus to it.
Dead bodies, dead meat. Oh, dead heat.
In fact, this is probably one of the more catchy ones. No, the dead heat, dead bodies, and yeah. It's the first and last time I'm going to sing on the show. But yeah, I did like that. It was just a fun little thing.
And also like the little guitar solo that happens right after the first chorus. It's real short.
40 seconds.
Simple. Yes. It's good. I mean, like that's the thing is like nothing on this album blew me away. Yep. But I thought all of it was good, you know?
Now, the first thing that I noticed, not the first thing I noticed, sorry. I noticed on the first song something that stuck out to me that let me know they're in the same room, is there is a drum hit or some kind of subtle bang that happens. It's very out of place right at 113. And it was like it happened, and I went, okay, you're all together. Cool. I like that.
Just about every song is going to have one or two little hiccups.
Yeah.
And again, I think that just adds to the personality of the band and the album. I think it's all fine.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's move on to talk about track 2, 28 Days Later.
Don't be part of the fate they're giving. I don't want to be infected rage. This might be the end of human race. I don't want to be infected.
I do also want to add that first track was only 1 minute 39 seconds, and this one is 1 minute 56. So at this point, in looking at it, not really trying to look ahead too much, I was like, we're getting longer. No, I was wrong. All right, So 28 Days Later is the post-apocalyptic movie 2002, directed by Danny Boyle, and then written by Alex Garland. And if you ever looked up Danny Boyle's filmography, he is not like sticking to any genre at all.
No, he's all over the place.
Oh, yeah. All right, so I do like the old school distorted guitar intro that we get on this song. I just thought that was a fun thing to throw in, and it let me know that it's like, okay, so we're going to get a little variation through this, but we don't really get a whole lot throughout the whole thing. But I don't think that was the aim of this, especially with this one being 1 minute 56 seconds and similar times throughout.
Yeah, this is one where the intro was fine, but I really did like it when the verse kicked in. I like his there's a little lead guitar line that's mixed in here or there. Oh, yeah. I like his vocal melody during the verses a lot. This is one where the lyrics are very straightforward, the plot of 28 Days Later.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I'm assuming you've seen this one, correct?
I've seen all of the 28 something because you got 28
Well,
weeks and I think we got days, weeks, and months, and now we're gonna have years soon.
So they never did a month,
Oh, I
but
thought
they
they did.
did.
Okay.
But they do have a year coming out,
Okay.
28 years later. So I will say that when this movie came out, I was deep into this movie. I saw it in theaters at least 3 times because I saw it once, and then I think I went and saw it again, and then they not re-released it, but they were giving like an alternate ending. So I was like, I've got to go see it, the alternate ending. And so I loved this movie when it first came out, and I still think it's extremely effective.
Oh yeah.
I know a lot of people like 28 Weeks Later, and I know I've seen it. I think I even own it, but for some reason it just doesn't stick with me. I feel like I need to go back and watch it. I'd like to watch both of them and then go see 28 Years. I would like to see that one in theaters as well.
Well, after you watch this one, you got to wait a little while. You got to wait 28 weeks.
Fair enough. I can no, wait, that's like a few months. The movie will be out of theaters by then.
So you're just watching at home on your big TV. I loved 28 Days Later. I loved Weeks Later. I loved both of them, but I do think that Days is better than Weeks. So
Cillian Murphy's awesome.
yeah. All right. So track 3, Deep Rising.
Have to find a way out of here. My body trembles with fear. Something from the deepest void.
This one is only 1 minute 44 seconds. Now, have you ever seen Deep Rising?
No, but I did notice that it stars Treat Williams again.
It does. It does.
Apparently, Treat Williams is a blank spot on our of our horror movie trivia.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I actually know Treat Williams from more things that are not horror than horror movies.
I don't
so
think I've seen him in anything. At least I don't recognize the name at all.
I actually recognize him more from like TV shows and stuff. So I don't know. Anyway, so Deep Rising is action horror movie that came out in 1998. It was directed by Steven Sommers. I didn't really see anything about this one besides Treat Williams, and I was like, cool. I think I should probably watch this one just to watch it. So, all right, the intro on this one is great. I genuinely like the intro here.
This one feels a little bit more rock and roll and
Yeah.
a little less punk.
Right.
I like that they mix it up a little.
Yeah, I do feel like they are definitely leaning more into the rock and roll. I feel like they're leaning more into like the rockabilly kind of side of things. And I'm cool
Yeah.
with that because it's like, we got just the, fast punk stuff. And then now we're into kind of dance and skip around a little bit for at
This
least 1
one,
minute,
though-
44 seconds.
Right. I didn't like the music on this one as much as I liked the first two. But I did like the woes. I like
Yeah.
how the last woe goes up a little
goes up.
higher. Yeah, so it's like it does it the first time it does it at 46 seconds, and then the second time it does it at 1 minute and 34. But it's just like this extra what, like it goes up, and I kind of like that. Something I forgot to mention, especially on 28 Days Later, but there's a couple of moments on a few of these songs where the bass will just do this like run.
Oh, it will.
And part of that whole recording live thing is like, oh, okay, so he does a bass run on the first line of each no, he just did it once. Okay. Like it's just the bass player's like just grooving along, and then all of a sudden goes boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And it's like, oh, well, that's cool. I'll never hear it again. But it was cool.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything like that in this one, but I know there is one in 28 Days Later, so I wanted to bring it up.
Okay, so I do know what you're talking about where the woes go up a bit because you said at 46 seconds, and I noticed that something happened with the vocals there because then at 50 seconds, we get this like guitar skip sound.
Yeah, that like it almost sounds like a person laughing the way they do the little like
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, and it sounds
like
a
that.
neat little thing, and it like and the guitar skip goes into the solo. it lasts for all of 10 seconds or whatever. I don't know. It's a quick solo. They're all quick solos. So at least now. So, all right. So let's move on to talk about track 4. Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Eyes roll back and her pretty face turned white. Didn't know she was so scared of facing goodbye to the night. There's so much I regret today. I wish Jessica was so dead. If I could tell
This one is only a minute 50 seconds. And have you ever seen Let's Scare Jessica to Death?
Yes, I own this one. This one is really good. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and I watched the trailer for it this morning and was like, oh God, like I sort of remember it, but not exactly. So I need to go back and watch it because I remember getting this one back in, oh God, probably early 20s, you know, when I was, you know, buying up as every horror DVD obscure movie I could find. And it's neat. It's sort of this combination of, if I remember correctly, there's sort of like this girl sort of has like some mental health problems, and so they're kind of like messing with her, but then some of the stuff is actually really happening and you don't really know what's them messing with her and what's real. And it's pretty good. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember being kind of creeped out by it at the time.
No, I do want to see it because actually, I don't think I actually knew this was a movie until going through all this. It came out in 71, and that does not bother me at all because I think the 70s and 80s were just great for like pushing those boundaries as far as horror movies and stuff go. And I genuinely love this song. I think this is one of the better songs on the album.
I was about to say the exact same thing. I think this is just about my favorite song. Probably is my favorite song on the album.
Yeah. And okay, so 24 seconds. I do, you know, really love what the guitar does right before the chorus starts.
But if you listen, he kind of messes up.
He does.
Because you can hear that it's supposed to go na 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 na, but instead it's like na 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 na. Like it just has this one little hiccup because he does it a second time right before the second chorus, and it's a lot smoother.
And that's why I like it.
Yeah, because it's just like I hear it every time. I'm nodding my head along, and it's like stutter, and then it like keeps going. But again, I've been a guitar player recording albums plenty of times, and there have been plenty of moments like that where you're just like, do we fix it? Do we spend 10 minutes trying to fix this, or do we just roll with it? And for something like this, you just roll with it. It sounds fine. It's cool, you know? So
it obviously didn't take anything away from the song because we both really enjoy the song. So
right. I think I really like how it starts with more of just like the bass and the vocal.
Yeah.
I saw her eyes roll back in her pretty face.
The bass tone on this album is fantastic.
I like the way this album sounds in general. The first time I listened to it, I was listening to it through like my computer speakers, and I felt like the vocals were sort of buried in the mix.
That's what I was going to say.
But when I listen to it on headphones and in the car, it feels better.
Yep.
But it also feels like a live recording of a punk band. So I don't expect it to be super well mixed. You know?
No, something like this, you can't expect it to be super polished. So I also want to say at 44 seconds, there's just a fun solo here.
45 to 55 seconds, that solo rules.
Okay, so for anybody listening, I can just go ahead and tell you we're on track 4, and Monster and I have very rarely ever agreed on 4 tracks in a row on an album. So we're gonna have fun here. So track 5, Children of the Night.
I don't want to be stuck in this grave. If I get out, I promise I'll behave.
Have you ever seen Children of the Night?
Okay, so when I first heard this song, I actually didn't think that was, pertaining to a specific film. And so I was very much like the lyrics, I don't know that the lyrics are the plot of the movie. Maybe they are, but they don't sound like they are. But
To be honest with you, I don't remember the lyrics from this one at all.
Okay, so this one, I love the lyrics on this one because First of all, the music is very kind of like doo-wop,
Yeah.
like with the chord progression.
It's just
and
a
the
pure
lyric.
rock and roll intro.
Yes. And then when he starts singing, he's talking about like he's tired of being in this grave, and if he comes out, he promises to behave.
I don't wanna be stuck in this grave. If I get out, I promise I'll behave.
But he just wants to taste some delicious human flesh. He says delicious human meat.
I just want a little something to eat. Just a taste of delicious human meat.
It cracks me up every time. So I don't think that's the plot of the movie, but I've never seen this movie, so I don't know for sure.
I've never seen it either. And for anybody wondering, it was a 91 comedy horror movie, which I struggle with. Do I enjoy comedy horror or horror comedy? You know, like which one are you going to put first? Don't look
What are
at me
you
like
talking
that.
about?
No, because there's been times where the comedy, the jokes are more important than the horror aspect of it, but then there's times where the horror aspect is more important than the comedy aspect of it. And, you know, I guess it all just depends on the movie itself. So anyway, I do really like the way he carries out the word night.
Come join the children of the night. Come join the children of the night.
Just, it carries it out probably longer than it needs to, but, you know, it's fine. Talk about the music of this one. I really, really enjoy what the guitar is doing in the background. And that made this probably the most interesting headphone listen of this entire album. Because overall, it's very passable. You know, it's good in headphones. Like you said, the vocals are, you know, mixed better, sound better in the headphones. But I don't know. Like, I just felt like this one was better in headphones because of that guitar.
I like this one a lot about halfway through, because the second half, it loses that doo-woppy feel and it's a lot more straightforward. And I like that less. I would have preferred them to just stay in that sort of kind of waltzy feel that the first half has.
Well, this song is 2 minutes, 17 seconds, and it's very long.
It goes on forever, you know? So, no, but seriously, I like the lyrics on this one a lot. But this is another one of those ones where he just repeats the same verse a couple times.
Right.
But I just prefer the first half because we haven't heard the doo-woppy sound yet, you know. So again, you know, 5 songs in, you're mixing it up a little bit. You know, we're not going to get a mid-tempo chuggy riff anywhere or anything like that, but at least it's a little bit of a shift.
These songs aren't long enough to go halftime.
No, and there's only one song where it kind of does, but we'll get there.
All right, so let's talk about track 6, Behind the Green Door.
Behind the green door, I promise I'll do it all. That Jake was a murderer. Just know the love's a lie. Just murder. Don't care what you done. Don't care where you've been.
Have you ever seen Behind the Green Door?
No.
So for anybody listening, Behind the Green Door is a 1972 pornographic film, and it's widely considered one of the genre's classic pictures, which I didn't know porn had classic pictures. Anyway, but it's also one of the films that ushered in what I also learned is considered the golden age of porn. I did not know that there was a time, a section of years that's considered the golden age of porn, but it's a 15-year period that stretches from 1969 to 1984.
It was before our time.
Yes. I just found that very entertaining that there's a golden age of porn. So
And you know, and what makes it even more uncomfortable is that is also during the age where you would have to go to a theater and watch it with other people.
Yep. And, you know, considering both of us were born in 85.
Yeah, we'll just stop there. So, I was not familiar with the film, so I am not sure if these lyrics correspond with the plot.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a plot. Maybe there's, you know.
I don't know. What is the golden age of porn? Is that where the acting really flourished? And Okay, so I'm not familiar with the movie either. I've never seen it, and so I don't know if the lyrics are the telling of the plot. But I mean, I enjoy this one. It just starts like a proper punk song. It just comes in hard and fast. I do like the start and stop vocals we get here.
Yeah, like where the music kind of drops out and he sings a line, and yeah, it's
Right.
kind of cool.
Right. It's just a neat way to kind of mix it up.
Oh, just to be close to you. You can do whatever you want, and I promise I like you.
And then we do get something here we haven't gotten yet, and I don't think we ever got it again, but there's gang vocals that happen here, and it's neat, but also at the same time, I kind of forgot there was gang vocals until I just read that note.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the harmonies on the word door.
Behind the green door. Behind the green door.
But that's about the only thing that kind of stood out to me. So I guess this is a good time to take a peek behind the green door. This is about the part of the album. There's one or two things that come up here in the next few songs that I do really like. But this is about the time where I started going, okay, I get it. These guys are good. This is fun, but we're not gonna deviate from this formula very much, are we?
Nope.
And so I don't want to say I started checking out, because I did not. The first time I listened to this from start to finish, I had a blast. But by the second or third time I was going through this is about the point where I was like, because I love Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I've had a lot of fun with the lyrics of Children of the Night, and now it's kind of just a little more straightforward, and I'm kind of, okay, I get it.
So 10 minutes of horror punk is all you could take.
That's half an album.
All right, so let's move on and talk about track 7, Long Live the New Flesh.
This will be our last mistake. Long live the new flesh.
Now,
Okay.
go, you do it.
You do it? Yeah, you do it. I do it. Okay.
You do it. Yeah.
Okay. So that is not the name of a movie.
It is
but
not.
It is a very important line from a film that I'm sure you know the name of, Videodrome.
Yeah. But do you know who directed Videodrome?
Oh, yes, it's David Cronenberg.
He didn't just write it. He didn't just direct it. He wrote it. Yeah, David Cronenberg. Yeah.
This is a classic 80s body horror film. If you like The Fly, if you like anything by David Cronenberg, you've probably seen Videodrome. James Woods is very good in it. It's a very weird movie. It's one of those ones where when it's over, you're still not exactly sure what all happened, what's real, what isn't. But it's got some fantastic practical effects, some really good body horror. Yeah, this is a good movie. And the song is pretty good too.
So I kind of, in preparing these notes, I kind of had the same thing where, I saw Videodrome a long time ago. I haven't seen Videodrome in a while. And I remember having the same thing that you were just talking about. You're not really sure it was real. It was a very strange movie and all. And it occurred to me while I was doing this, is that so far different than a David Lynch movie? But David Cronenberg movies are just better, I think, more well written and whatnot. And the plot's easier to kind of go along with. The actors are usually better at, not acting like fake people and whatnot. Yeah. So anyway.
Put Cronenberg and Lynch necessarily in the same category. I mean, yes, there is some body horror to David Lynch films, especially like Eraserhead. Good Lord. But Cronenberg is a little bit more like grotesque about it, I guess. Like it's made to make you go, oh God. Right. Like, again, think about like Crash and Shivers and The Fly, like when Goldblum
did he do Reanimator as well?
No, that was Stuart Gordon.
Okay.
But like The Fly, when Goldblum's pulling his nails off and stuff. Yeah, Scanners with the exploding head, which is one of the coolest practical effects of all time.
Yeah.
So but Videodrome is kind of, I feel like, sort of in the middle. Because it's not as well known as The Fly, but it is a little bit more known than, say, like Shivers or something like that. But yeah, but again, as far as the song goes, This is one that is kind of in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
I kind of remember there being some good whoa, whoa, whoas in this one.
When our bodies start to break.
I do like
And
the
another
background whoa whoa whoas. I thought that was a good touch.
And this is another one where the bass player throws in a lick or two here or there for just because I guess he's bored.
Right. I don't know how you can get bored in 2 minutes, 34 seconds. But
Another long one.
yeah. Okay, so there is a little guitar run that happens twice in the beginning. And I thought it was great. It was, I kind of was at the same point that you were, not quite as bored and fatigued, but, I was like, okay, we're not going to mix this up too much. And then this one came on, and I think I listened to this one probably twice back to back. And, the woes I thought was a great thing, but then those guitar runs each time, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, that's cool. So it happens twice at the beginning, and then it comes back at 107.
Yeah, I do like that little guitar line. That it's kind of nice and poppy. That's the thing is every once in a while they'll get just a little pinch of like pop punk.
Yeah.
And it's I like it when they do that.
All right, so let's talk about track 8, Army of Darkness.
When Jesus trying to hit a slam, I'm gonna fight it with a chainsaw on my hand. Made a simple mistake. The whole ground starts to shake.
Now, I do want to tell anybody listening, I want to tell our audience that this was a track that as soon as it came on, I immediately felt more bonded to Monster, because anybody that doesn't know, Army of Darkness is the third movie in the trilogy, the Evil Dead trilogy.
Yeah, the loosely based trilogy, yes.
Yes, where the second movie is a rehashing of the first movie and then extra. And yeah, I don't know.
The first 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then it also got a fantastic TV show to boot and all. Anyway, yeah. Love Army of Darkness. And this one pretty much just tells the story after Bruce gets put in charge.
Pretty much. So the intro is actually a sound clip from the film.
Klaatu, Miranda.
Which is classic. It's just a hilarious moment. And so the first time, as soon as I saw the title of the song, I was like, oh, cool. And then when it starts with that Klaatu, Barata, like that's gold. That's so funny.
It's like you can hear, like, it's very rare that you can hear an actor in a moment, but you can like just feel the Bruce Campbell of it all.
I can see Bruce's face when he does that with the little side eye where he's like armed out. Klaatu. Like it's so funny.
I don't know.
But,
I have trouble seeing his face. I just really see his chin.
That's what I mean. That is 78% of his face. But then when the song kicks in itself, it's okay. This isn't one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But to your point, the lyrics are just straight up the story of Army of Darkness, basically.
Right. Yeah. Now there are fun guitar runs sprinkled throughout the song.
Yep. I've got that too. Yep.
Yeah. And I do feel like this is one of the places where the singer actually leaves his comfort zone, leaves that comfortable place, and he pushes them into a higher register towards the end.
It might not have been the right words I said. It was too much information.
Not for long, but he does go up a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I like how this one is just like really fast. It's one of the shortest. It's like the third or fourth shortest on the album.
141.
It's just fast.
Yeah. All right. So track 9, Walking Dead.
Walking Dead is a shooter in the head. Even if the bucket full of lead, it won't remain dead. The only way to stop the Walking Dead is to shoot him in the head.
And this was only a minute 57. But okay, I got a question. Do you know if this is a specific movie or is it the TV show? Like, it just kind of seems like it's just a generic zombie song. Because, I mean, I guess if you're going to make an album about songs with horror movie titles, it makes sense to just throw a zombie one in.
Yeah, and I feel like if it was supposed to be specific to the show, it would have been The Walking Dead.
Right.
But because it's just Walking Dead, I don't know that. Because, yeah, to your point, the lyrics are very much like typical zombie apocalypse. There's a line in there about, you can fill them full of lead, but they won't stop unless you shoot them in the head.
Even if the puppet's full of lead, it won't remain dead. The only way to stop the walking dead is to shoot 'em in the head.
Stuff like that.
Right.
Which is cool. This is one where, so actually, I will say I like the intro on this one because the tone of the guitar and then that little lead line on top reminded me of like super old self-titled Killers era of Iron Maiden. And so I thought that was kind of fun. Once it kicks in, it's more modern horror punk than it is, old metal. But those first couple Iron Maiden records have a lot of punk influence to them. So it's not that far removed. But yeah, this one was, I like this one pretty good, especially with the, being a zombie fan,
Right. Now, I mean, I got to say, this is probably one of my more favorite guitar songs here. And the guitar was really the only thing that jumped out to me on this one. Because the rest of it is pretty much, like you said, just a straight up horror punk song. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. At minute 57 seconds, it passes pretty quick. You get in, you get out. You gave me some good guitar lines. Cool.
Yeah.
I got nothing else on that one. So, track 10, Jaws. And for anybody that doesn't know Jaws, you are either still swimming in the ocean or you just have been living under a rock. But it was a 75 movie from Steven Spielberg. It's just a fast song with fun vocal runs. I like the whoa.
Yeah,
It's just a fast song about a shark.
So for anyone who has not heard this album, no, the singer does not sound like Tarzan. That was all dangerous inflections. So this is one I said, I don't love this one, but it's over before I get bored with it because it's another very short one.
It's a minute 44, so it's 3 seconds longer than Army of Darkness. So
Right.
Yeah, it just gets in, gets out.
This is another one with some fun bass line, kind of running around here or there for no particular reason. Like there's no like continuity to it. It doesn't like repeat in a certain place. It just does stuff. Yeah.
More or less.
Which I did go see Jaws at the Carolina Theater a couple years ago.
Oh.
And I will say on a big screen, it still is a lot of fun. It still holds up.
No, I genuinely like that movie. I think it's a fun movie. I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie. I will tell you that it is actually the first movie to be considered a blockbuster.
Yes.
So
that was sort of the film that started that, we got to have a huge
summer
picture in the summer. Yeah. Which also I want to piggyback off of something else. We've discussed horror comedies and all that kind of stuff. My favorite movie is Evil Dead 2. I think that is just perfection. Would we call that a horror comedy?
I would call that a comedy horror because the slapstick seems to be what drives a lot of the actions in the movie. But then we do later in the movie, I feel like about halfway through the movie, the horror takes precedent. But I feel like there in the beginning of the movie, first half of the movie, Bruce Campbell's slapstickiness and, the dancing, stop motion, it's just, I don't know. I feel like the comedy kind of took precedent there in the beginning of the movie.
So literally you're telling me that if you flip the two words, it means one is more prevalent than the other?
I don't know. Do we have any film critics that are listening to the show? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Because I've never thought of it that way. I always just thought horror comedy or comedy horror, they mean the same thing.
While horror comedy and comedy horror are often used interchangeably, there is a subtle distinction to be made in terms of emphasis. Horror comedy, emphasis on horror, primarily a horror film, It incorporates dark humor or comedic moments within a scary narrative. The film balances scares with comedic elements, ensuring humor does not undermine the horror. Examples: Bodies, 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 Ready or Not, Drag Me to Hell, Evil Dead 2. Comedy horror. Emphasis on comedy, primarily a comedy that uses horror elements as a backdrop or source of jokes. These films often use parody and satire to mock traditional horror tropes and conventions. Examples: Scary Movie, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, Cabin in the Woods, What We Do in the Shadows. Horror comedy aims to scare while also making you laugh with dark or clever humor. Comedy horror aims to make you laugh, often by making fun of horror tropes, while incorporating elements of horror. This distinction can be subjective, and many films may fall under both categories or have elements of both. Consider which genre is emphasized and the film's primary goal: to scare or make you laugh.
I don't know. I mean, I generally love Evil Dead 2 as well. So, I love Evil Dead 2 too.
Evil Dead 2 too. That was the working title. No, we can't do this. Please move on.
All right, track 11, Murder on My Mind.
But I've got murder on my mind. You can run and you can hide.
Now the question for you, do you know this movie? And I ask you that because I Googled Murder on My Mind movie, and the only thing I could find is Murder in My Mind, a 75 sci-fi thriller movie, but I couldn't find that this was a line from a movie like we had earlier, Videodrome and whatnot. So Murder on My Mind, or is it just a generic horror murder song?
It's not a movie that I have heard of. I don't think it is. And the lyrics to this one, I think, are great. I like this one. This is probably my second favorite on the album.
We'll see.
Because
it's funny you say that because the lyrics didn't really jump out to me, but the music, I think this is the best, all-around music track. And it's 2 minutes, 6 seconds, so it's one of the little bit longer ones here. But, I really enjoyed the music here. I do like the way it starts with the drums and the bass come in, and then the guitar comes in. It's fun, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you around, I would say, a minute 30, it just kind of ends up sounding like everything else just runs together.
So this is another one that I said has they need a little bit of hint of old Iron Maiden. If you've never heard those first two albums before Bruce Dickinson joined, it has a very different feel. And so, but that guitar chord progression with that twin harmony guitar that starts at 11 seconds. All of that is really cool. The lyrics are very funny. They're basically like a guy going to work and trying to put on a happy face, but he's in his brain thinking about murdering his coworker, which is who hasn't been there, right? So I thought it was.
I worked from home yesterday by myself, and I thought about murdering my coworker. Oh wait, it was me. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that's totally relatable. You're either on one of those sides at some point in your life. But no, this one's a lot of fun to me. I like this one a lot. It's one of the few in this back chunk that really grabs me, and I enjoy listening to repeatedly.
Okay, I will say from 101 to 119, the band shows off, and they deserve to at this point. It's just a fun little music moment that they get, or music seconds, I don't know. But I do love the ending to this song as well. It's just kind of I want to say all falls apart, but coordinated effort. I just thought it was fun. Track 12.
This is a good one. Yeah.
Track 12. Your vice is a locked room. Now, do you know where this comes from?
Yeah, so this is actually half of a movie title.
It is.
Yeah, the full title is Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key.
It doesn't really flow off the tongue.
No, which is why they probably shortened it.
Yeah.
Now, this is a 70s Giallo film
72.
72 that I'm not familiar with. Giallos are not my cup of tea.
They're
seen
Italian
a few.
slashers.
Yeah, so the thing is, Italian films, especially from the 70s and 80s, the ones I'm more familiar with are by like Lucio Fulci,
Like
which
Zombie.
are right, or Beyond the Cemetery, or the Gates of Hell trilogy, which are all bonkers, and they're gory and goopy, and they don't make any sense, and they're great, and I love it. Now, the Giallos, though, are a lot slower, and they're more like murder mysteries. Whereas, here in America, we got guys like Jason and Michael Myers and Freddy. It's like, who's doing it, and they just butcher everybody, and it's campy, and you laugh. But Giallos tried to be a little bit more...
Who done
I
it?
don't want to say yeah, a little bit more like a whodunit, a little more serious. And I don't know, I think now that I'm older, I could appreciate them more. I just know that when I tried to get into them when I was younger, it just sort of, I was like, come on, get to the gory parts,
Okay, so I wasn't sure. I'd never seen or heard of this movie. I really wasn't sure if I had picked the right movie. Fact to slip in here until he said the full first line.
Right.
Cause your vice is a locked room.
But after how short everything has been, this one just feels like an impossibly long epic at 3:44.
Yep,
And-
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
And I had to check myself on it because I got about halfway through this one. I was like, God, this is a long song. Oh, it's only 3:44. This is really not that long of a song. But I think what, kind of hurt that was up until the first chorus at 1:38, it just sounds like the same thing that we've already heard before this. I do think that after that, it does change because then the guitar is gets really interesting about it. It has some really fun runs in it. I really like what the guitar is doing after that. I feel like, the vocalist just kind of stays in that same place for sure. But, a minute 38 of one of your longer songs. Is this the longest one on the album? I can't remember now. Yeah. The longest one. Yeah. So a minute 38 of your longest track just kind of feels the same as what you've already put out.
So I was pulling up some Giallo films, trying to see have I seen a few, and I guess I have seen a couple that they consider Giallos. I've seen Suspiria. Dario Argento is another one of these Italian guys that dips his toes into Giallos. And I kind of forgot Lucio Fulci did direct a couple, including Don't Torture a Duckling, which I think I have seen that one. But yeah, these are pretty cool. Mario Bava, he's another Italian director that did some of these kind of movies. Yeah, I think I need to go back and
Revisit.
Yeah, because there's a few that I'm looking at the names here where I'm like, I've either seen that or I've seen parts of it, and yeah. So okay, cool.
All right, so let's round the album out. Devil in Miss Jones.
For every sin I committed, so that no one knows. The devil in his shows, I'll never be acquitted. For every sin I committed, so that
Now, are you familiar with Devil in Miss Jones?
I am as familiar with it as I am with Behind the Green Door.
That's fair, because Devil in Miss Jones is a 1973 pornographic film. It was written, directed, and produced by Gerald Dalmanio, I think. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Anyway, and he was inspired by the 1944 play No Exit by French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, and it was starring Georgina Spelvin and Harry Reams. I guess they're two 70s porn actors.
Yeah, so Harry Reams, first of all, if that's your real name, I mean, if you think of a 70s porn star man, he is the definition. Like
Okay.
that mustache, it's special.
All right. I did not Google Harry Reams, and I don't plan on it. So, okay. So this is another one that is widely regarded as a classic in the adult film.
Sure, why
genre.
not?
Anyway, and it was released during the golden age of porn. After his 1972 success of Deep Throat, Damonio, I don't know, I'm not going to ever pronounce his name right or feel confident with it. Anyway, he shot the film in a converted apple picking plant in Mullinville, Pennsylvania. So, Phil from Pennsylvania. Phil from Philly. I tried to
That's
bring
why I
it back
picked
to you.
this. He's been there.
I tried
He was an
to bring it back. Yeah. I don't feel like Phil was probably active in 1973. He could have been. I have no idea if Phil is a he or older than old enough to be there. Anyway, okay. So you end your horror album about a porn song. Cool. To be honest with you, I don't remember any lyrics from this one, so I can't tell you if it's about a plot or what. So,
Yeah, me neither. All I remember is that this one is a little bit more pop punk. It's got these extra little lead lines throughout that are kind of fun. They kind of give it a little bit of a different flavor. There's also I really like the vocal melody in the verses.
yeah.
Can't find one more word to say, so I just get on my way. I'm leaving today.
And there's also this really cool drum fill that happens right before the chorus. It happens twice at the 30-second mark and then at the 51-second mark.
For a reason.
And then there's even another little guitar solo that starts around 53 seconds. That's, again, nothing super flashy or special, but it's fun.
I think it's probably the longest solo because it starts at 53 and ends at 125.
I mean, that sounds like something from Metallica or something. That sounds like Creeping Death or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a neat little solo. Be honest with you, like, I feel like this is a good ending because it kind of feels like the rest of the album.
I actually thought Your Vice is a Locked Room is sort of an anomaly on this album to be that long.
Yeah.
That it almost felt like maybe that should have been the last song.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I don't know. I'm fine with it the way it is, but I feel like it would have been okay the other way as well.
Yeah, and for me, I it's silly to say this with some of the songs and albums that we talk about, but because of the length, I was sort of kind of checking out on your Vice. So I would have almost preferred that they would have switched these two so I could listen to Devil and Miss Jones and then just kind of be done at that point.
No, that's fair. That's fair. All right, Monster, let me ask you a question. What's new with you?
Hey, hey, good looking. What you got? Cooking.
I would say lyrically, Murder on My Mind. Because it reminded me of a song like Voices by Disturbed. But musically, there is nothing on this album that even comes close.
No, I was kind of wondering what you were going to say here, so.
The closest thing musically, and boy is it a stretch, is Your Vice is a Locked Room. They have these little parts right before like the verse kicks in where the beat does go halftime. But the song is, a punk song, so when it goes halftime, it doesn't really bounce or groove. It just feels halftime. So as a complete stretch, I'm just going to say Murder on My Mind because lyrically it can kind of go that way. So
Yeah.
Danger, what's cooking?
So I wanted to add this as the cooking track to put on the playlist. I wanted to add Let's Scare Jessica to Death because it is my favorite song off the album, but I have to just go with Army of Darkness because of that clip at the beginning and what the song's about. I just think it's a fun song, and I do think the song flows well, and it's okay, but I'm going to have to go with Army of Darkness for cooking.
good. I'm not mad about that choice. That song,
I have
every
to
time
agree.
that intro started, it makes me smile.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to go first with your closing statement?
Take a little guess here. Who do you think's going to have a higher score? And I want that person to go first.
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. I guess it's appropriate to be a horror punk band that stays in the lane when it comes to material. Left Hand Black stayed in their lane. When it comes to horror punk, they nailed it. Most wouldn't think of something like this coming from Sweden, but here we are. Left Hand Black gave us a debut record that knocks on the door, waits for you to open it, turns on a cheesy horror movie, slaps you in the face, and leaves. If someone going into this already likes the Misfits but wants a dash of the Ramones and a little bit of Poppy here or there, this will be a good time. For me, I would like a bit more catchy choruses. We did get a line or two or a word, but nothing really sticks outside of Dead Bodies from track 1, which really isn't the best thing to walk around singing. The singer knows his limitations and stays in his comfort zone. He does step away sometimes, but gets scared and goes back. Let's not forget the band shows talent. They definitely have it. Give me more of the drum fills and some more of that fun guitar work. Overall, I gave this a 7.65.
Wow, that's a lot longer and a lot higher than I go. So here we go.
All right, Monster, go for it.
This type of album does not do well for the way we do our show. This is a quick blast of silly fun that isn't meant to be listened to on repeat or scrutinized to the nth degree. This is meant to be thrown on at a Halloween party or played loud as hell in a dingy bar. This is the type of album you can blast in your car on the way to or from work and then forget about it for a couple weeks until the urge for some kitschy punk rock comes back to you. The songs that Left Hand Black have put on this album are fine. Nothing that breaks the mold, nothing that other horror punk bands don't also do, but I feel like they're having fun, and there is a nice energy to most of this album. There are one or two standout tracks, but for me, this is a very down-the-middle, very average horror punk album. I'll probably slap 3 of these songs on a horror punk playlist on Spotify and never listen to the rest of the album again. 1 to 10, I said 5.5.
All right, so Monster gave Left Hand Black a 5.5, and I gave it a 7.65, which gives it an overall average of 6.575, putting it into the 34th position, just below the Hippos, Heads Are Gonna Roll, and just above Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar.
Ooh, you know what? That almost works, because it would work as Left Hand Black doing a show with the Hippos or doing a show with Manson. I don't think all 3 should be together.
No, I don't either, but I do think that either one of those options is a good time. It'd be a ticket I would be I would at least entertain buying. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So, Phil from Philly. Still don't know if your name is Phil, but anyway. Thank you for the request. We really do appreciate it. Please,
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, please shoot us another one. I know you gave us a couple in your first one, in your first request of this, but, sure, shoot us another one. If you disagree with the score that we have given this album, then please shoot us an email at breakdownsbreakfast@gmail.com or head on over to one of our social medias, Facebook, X, or Instagram, Breakdowns for Breakfast across all of those.
Be sure to check out Second Breakfast. I don't know if anybody's enjoying listening to them, but I'm having fun doing them, and I've gotten a little bit of feedback that seems to be mostly positive. So if you have any suggestions, anything you want to hear me rant about, let me know. Be happy to do it. And I want to get serious for a second here, Danger.
Oh, no.
What kind of tea is really hard to drink?
You're getting serious, so I don't know.
Reality.